Hey everyone, this is Jason Clemmons, Doctor of Chiropractic at the Rock Health and Wellness Center, and you are listening to Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. This is Thursday, December 21st, and we are coming to you getting ready for Christmas right here from Lubbock, Texas. And I hope you. Uh-oh, hang on a second. We got something going on the radio. Hey, I'm not sure. I got a little bit of a rebound right there. I hope everybody, if that's clear. Anybody out there listening to the show, I got like a little bit of a delay, so I'm just going to go on with it. Sorry about that, and maybe I'll. Everybody is at the station. You're listening to that, and it sounds okay to you. Let me know, please. Otherwise, we're just going to go on with it and see if it's right. So it's Thursday night. It's December 21st, and we are this is our technical night, and this is where we get a little bit deeper into some things. We've had a pretty good week of getting deep in some things already. We had a great show on Monday when we took health to church. We had a good follow up show on Tuesday, and talking about some ideas. And then last night we got into Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and it was a good show to break down. Dr. Jordan Peterson has taught me a lot of things. He's a clinical psychologist from Canada, and he's a fantastic guy that, as far as learning and teaching things, I don't know him personally, so I don't know what kind of person he is personally, but from everything I could tell, he's super dedicated to trying to change the world, make the world a better place. And he's a little rough around the edges sometimes, but he doesn't waste any time talking to us and gives you exactly what you need and tries to teach you everything that he has. And so I really appreciate him. I've enjoyed listening to him. I've listened to him for hundreds of hours so far. And he also has a website. You could go to jordanpeterson.com if you're interested. And um, let me see if I can find that for you real quick, because the it's a knowing yourself website, and he does he does a really awesome job. Understand myself. Yeah, it's what it is. Just straight up understandmyself.com. And there's a personality assessment that you could do on there, and it breaks down it's a pretty in-depth personality assessment. It's really, I think it's awesome. I did it myself, learned some things about it. It teaches you some of your strengths and your weaknesses based on your personality, and there's a lot of background and a lot of history that he uses in that. And he's also got this thing called the self authoring suite, where you start to actually write things out, where it makes you write paragraphs and write papers that you have to actually write out your plans and your dreams and what it is that you're planning to do. And so it, it's great. It's a great program. He's got a lot of stuff. We did his 12 Rules for Life last night. The other one is his um, Maps of Meaning book, and the Maps of Meaning book is way more in depth. So if you're really looking for something that's in depth and you want to get into something deep, the Maps of Meaning book is one of those that you can really get into and get into some deep stuff right there. So um, anyway, it's been a great week. It's been lots of fun. We've had a great week where everybody's ready for Christmas. The kids are out of school. Everybody's like trying to get through. We've had people all day long coming in and say that they're already on their break. They got off at lunch today, or this is their last day that they had to work, and so we got some time. This Christmas being on Monday is giving us all a little bit of time to actually um, take a break and enjoy the day a little bit. So that is Sorry, I got some crazy things going on here in the studio tonight, but I think we're fine out there. I hope we're okay. I'm gonna keep doing it. If you can hear me on Facebook and you want to send me a thumbs up or something like that, or anybody that's hearing me on the radio, if you want to send me a text at 806-794-0400, just making sure that we're live and you get me out there, that'd be great. But what I wanted to talk about tonight, what I really wanted to get into tonight is I wanted to get into the idea the I wanted to give you some options, and I wanted to talk about our nutrition program that we do in the office. And I wanted to get in depth. I've gone over it a little bit superficially, and I've gone over all the parts for you. But everybody has it. We're just about to that time of year where you're eating too much sugar. And what I figured out something this year. I didn't ever know this because I never was this guy before. But since we're almost to 22 months, this is my second Christmas that I've now gone through without eating any sugar. And I finally figured out this week that what the Grinch is. The Grinch is the guy at Christmas time that tells you that you shouldn't be eating sugar. That's what the Grinch is. So I figured that out right there. That's kind of funny because I feel like the Grinch because I keep reminding people, hey, today is an awesome day to be healthy. Today is a great day to be healthy. You might think about that. You might not want to be flooding your body with all that sugar. It's not going to be good for you. And people just look at me and they're like, there ain't nobody listening to that boy. It's like, no way. He's the Grinch. So I thought that was kind of funny that maybe I finally found my Grinch self, and I'm a big holiday guy. Like I'm all in. I'm a big box guy on July 4th. I'm all about Christmas presents and opening gifts in the mornings and doing all that stuff. And of course we all know what Jesus and Christmas is all about. But the holiday part of it, I enjoy it. I enjoy being with the kids and the family and doing all the things that we do. And so I finally figured out, everybody has all the traits. So you're not very many steps away from being Hitler or something, It's like what would the circumstances be to put you in that situation that you would manifest those traits? And so I found some Grinch traits. I found some Grinch traits that it's like, yeah, you just tell everybody at Christmas time to don't eat sugar. You'll find out you're the Grinch pretty fast. So I thought that was funny, but no, we're at that time where you're going to get after the first, and you're going to be so sick of yourself that from all the things that you let yourself eat and your weight, and you're going to be looking for a place to start. You're going to be looking for, we're going to set our New Year's resolutions and we're going to set our goals for 2024 and all those things, whatever it is that you do out there. And I just want to talk to you about an option that you can do here at The Rock. And yes, I'm selling my office. And yes, this is a commercial for our office. You betcha, 100%. Why? Because that's how much I believe in our office. Like that's how much I believe in our product. I'm not bashful about it. I'm not shying away from it whatsoever. I think it's good for you. I think it would be great for you. And if you want to get fit in 2024 and you want to get healthier in 2024, then we have created a place for you. And I want to go through tonight, and I just want to talk about the components of it so you kind of know what you're getting. And you also understand that if you're going to do it on your own, some of the things that you might consider when you're out there doing it on your own. So I thought we would get into that tonight. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of these ideas. And so the very first one is the idea of nerve interference, because it's something that only chiropractors think about. We're the only ones that ever talk about it. We're the only ones that ever really break it down. But I can promise you this: you cannot be healthy without a healthy nervous system. Nobody has ever taught you that. You may have not ever even heard that before. But if you have a sick nervous system, if you have an abnormally functioning nervous system, if you have an abnormally firing nervous system, there's no way that you can achieve the level of health that you would like to achieve. And if you look at any diet book, or you go to Barnes and Noble and you stand in front of all of the books in the there to that talk about health, and you go through and do all those different models, or you go to YouTube and you try to search for somebody, or you find your fitness guru somewhere in the world, I promise you that I would be willing to bet you, if that person's not a chiropractor, I'd be willing to bet you it's 100% of those people that don't talk about your nervous system functioning being important in your overall health and fitness. And really, your nervous system is where it starts. Like actual lifting weights. Actual lifting weights, the first thing that's going on in a weightlifting program when you start to work out and lift weights is a reestablishment and an increased efficiency of nervous system firing. It's the nerve, it's the brain to the muscle and the muscle to the brain connection. And that's what's actually happening. And so I really, really want to present for your consideration how important your nervous system is to your overall health and wellness. And the way that it fires, and I can show you here in a minute when we get to some of the x-rays that we look at. If you're going to start lifting weights and you're going to start firing your muscles, you need to understand what your posture's doing. You need to understand where your shoulders are in relationship to your hips. You need to understand where your elbows are in relationship to your wrist when you start to press something. So there is an importance in the way that you can organize your body and the way that your body is firing. And if your nervous system is not firing properly, then what will happen to you is you will start to create some abnormal biomechanics, movement faults. Your body's not going to move the way it's supposed to move, which can lead to injury. And then when you get injured, you stop your workouts and it crashes, right? Well, that's what we are really trying to avoid. I don't want that to happen to you at all, because I want you to be able to sustain it. And it's if you're really doing health and wellness properly, it's not a fad. It's lifetime wellness for the rest of your life. If it's not something that's just a fad, man, I really want to get in shape just because I got a wedding next summer, and then what? When the wedding's over, you're just gonna crash and go back to where you were? No, you want something that's sustainable. Where are you gonna be a year from now? Where are you gonna be 2 years from now? Where are you gonna be 3 years from now? Right? What is the thing? Because there's so many catchy phrase things that go on. You know, whatever the Daniel diet, or whatever that thing is called, right? Or 75 hard, or whatever those, there's nothing. I'm not talking trash about those things. I'm saying that the ones that have an ending from the beginning, they're like, oh, look, man, we're gonna do a 6-week boot camp or something like that. And it's like, okay, but just understand that that's the first 6 weeks of the rest of your life, not just the 6 weeks and that's all. So what we want to make sure we start off any of the things that we're doing with the idea of subluxation, which means interference in your nervous system, and breakdown in communication between the brain and the body. Your body is trying to talk to your brain. Your brain is trying to talk to your body. And somewhere along the way, there's interference. And that is going to cause your body to malfunction. And we like to call it dis-ease in chiropractic. DIS-ease. So that dis-ease or disorder or malfunction is the result of the interference of this firing pattern, which can come from skeletal bones, which can come from fascia, which can come from ligaments, which can come from tendons, which can come from neurology, which can come from muscles, which can come from diet, which can come from blood. Like there's a lymph system. There's a lot of different components that can create subluxation in your body. It doesn't just have to be some sort of what people like to reference as a misalignment in chiropractic, which really is not the proper term for it. But it doesn't just have to be your spine. It can be all of it. So we try to address as much of it here in the office as we can. That's the very first stage of it. And so the nervous system is super important. And we've talked about it. How does it fire? Does it fire up and to the right, over to the left? Does the upper brain dampen the lower brain? Do we have upper brain rational functioning? Do we have prefrontal cortex activity? Those type of things are super important for health. Like because otherwise you're battling an internal problem. Like externally is we have enough trouble externally. There's enough trouble, there's enough stress to go through the day to spread to all of us, right? We know that there's an external stress. We all can name our external stresses. It won't take us 5 seconds, and you can tell me your top 3 external stresses. What is stressing you out in your life? I bet you that you didn't think your brain firing pattern was one of them, right? Because they're external, but you're not thinking about the things. If I ask you, what are the things? Why am I stressed out? Why do I have ADD? Why do I have why do I have anxiety or depression? Why do I have acid reflux? Why do I have this tight muscle on this trap over here on this side? How come my shoulder keeps pinching right here on the front? Like what is that's going on right there, right? So to get somebody to analyze your internal system for you and then give you some things you can do to try to fire that internal system to decrease the amount of interference in your nervous system so that you have an increased amount of energy to take on the world on the outside. It's a super important thought for you right there. Don't want you to get by without thinking about that right there. So your nervous system getting checked. And we'll go through this stuff in the office. We'll go through your heart rate, your oxygen saturation, your grip strength. I've got some of these things on here. Your x-ray, your physical exam, your posture screen, your right eye, your reflex app. You've heard me mention these things before. I had a guy text me or actually reach out to us on our website, and he sent me a message, and he said, "Hey, I'm just looking for a simple adjustment. Can I schedule with you?" And I sent him back a message, and I told him, I said, that's really not what we do at the Rock Health and Wellness Center. We're just not simple adjustment guys. This is not the place where we do that. It doesn't mean that's not a part of our society. It doesn't mean that there's not need for it out there. I'm not throwing any stones at anybody. The joint does a good job with doing that type of work. Right? If you just I had a person call me yesterday. He's a patient. He said, "Hey, can I get one of my employees in? He just needs an adjustment." And I'm like, "Dude, that's not what I do. I'm not just an adjustment guy. I'm in it. I'm committed at a deeper level than that. And that's not the way we work at the Rock. We're gonna analyze what's going on with you. We're going to see what's happening with you. We've got some technology in the office. We've got some tools to do it, and we're going to see what's going on with you." And you say, "Well, that's pretty. You're kind of being a dictator right there." No, I'm not. It's just like you can't get a T-bone steak at Cane's, right? If you want a ribeye, you probably ought to go to Kegel's if you're in Lubbock. If you want a good steak, if you want a fillet, you can go to Longhorn or something and get you a good fillet, but you can't get a good fillet at Cane's. And I love, Cane's has its place, right? Like that, there's a place for that right there. If you want some chicken strips and some French fries and some coleslaw, then you go to Cane's. I'm not saying one place is better than the other one. I'm just saying they're different. And that's what we're a little bit different at the Rock when we come to that. We're going to check those things on you. We're going to try to make sure that we can analyze it. So that we've got those things here. And if you guys that are watching on social media, you can kind of see what this is all about. And we've the pulse ox and the oxygen. We want to make sure that your brain has enough oxygen. We want to make sure, because we don't want to overload that system with too much input. So we want to make sure that your brain is oxygen is right. We want to make that your heart rate is functioning properly. When you sit down and you stand up, you're sitting in a chair, and you've got your pulse ox on you, and you find out what your heart rate is. You stand up, your heart rate should go up. You should get about a 10 to 15 increase of beats per minute in your heart rate. If it goes up over 20, you can that kind of signals that, hey, there may be some abnormal functioning of your autonomic nervous system. If it doesn't bump at all, if it doesn't move at all, you might be like, probably I've seen it on like people who are on drugs of some sort, not illegal drugs, but pharmaceuticals, people who are taking some blood pressure medication or statins or something like that, that will actually change that process right there and change the if whether or not your heart goes up. And that's not good. That's not good. If your heart rate is 82 beats per minute, and then you stand up and your heart rate stays at 82 beats per minute and it doesn't bounce, that's not good. That's not a good sign for you. That you need to. That's important right there. That your nervous system is responding. And then we get over here into this grip strength test. This grip strength test is dealing with this little dude called the homunculus, and you can look that up. HOMUNCULUS, the homunculus. And the homunculus, if you look at that little picture of that little man, he's got giant hands. And what that represents is it represents the amount of neurons in the brain that are allocated to your hands. So your hands have massive amounts of neurons in there, and we want to know if your grip strength is working. If your grip strength is weak, then that could be a sign of weak brain. Your brain might not be working right. We're also going to take your posture picture. We're going to analyze your posture from a visual standpoint and see if there's any sort of interference that's going on from that standpoint in your body as well. And then we're going to do your right eye test. And the right eye test is going to give us information on 3 separate parts of your brain. We want to look at your frontal lobe, we want to look at your parietal lobe, and then we want to look at your brain stem and how it integrates with your brain and how it's working. And we have this technology is really fantastic to be able to kind of give us a picture of what those different parts of your brain are doing. And so we will go through that part, and then we'll get a pre and a post. We'll do it once, and then we'll come back after treatment and we'll do it again. And we'll get some ideas of, are you able to move your eyes better? Is your brain able to move your eyes better than it did beforehand? And that's a really important that's very important to the way that your body is functioning. So we can do this right eye test, and we'll look at fixations that will look at that, what we call the neural integrator right there. And we want to see can you keep your eyes on one spot? Do you have the ability? Number one, do you have the ability to converge? That's something that your eyes need to be able to do, is they need to be able to converge down to a point. Can you get your eyes to do that? Are your eyes converging, and are they doing it equally on both sides? And then, are you able to keep your eyes in one spot, or are your eyes bouncing around and moving around? And we can kind of measure that, because it's taking 90 pictures a second of the computer screen that we've got. So you'll sit in front of this little computer screen, and then we're going to run you through some tests, and it's going to give us these scores. And then the pursuits are when you follow something smoothly through space. Like if you were to watch a bird fly across the sky, or watch a car drive down the highway, and you were moving your eyes and you were keeping your eyes on it and you were pursuing, that's a different part of your brain right there. And then you get into the saccades, and the saccades is going back and forth, and that's the frontal lobe. And how is the frontal lobe functioning? And you can see in these 2 pictures, you guys that are on social media with us, the picture on the top, there was a 73 score, an 88 in fixations, and then it dropped into 66 in the pursuits, and then it dropped even further down in the saccades. And then when you go through a period of time and you redo the test, now you've got a 90 score. So it went from a 73 to a 90, and then 95 in the fixations, and then an 80. It went from a 66 to an 80 in pursuits, and a 37 to a 55 in saccades. So we've got the ability to kind of test that for you, so that you kind of have an idea of what's how your brain is working. It's your sight is super important. It's your dominant daytime sense. It's 40% of all nerve fibers to your brain come through your retina, and um, your sight is super important, and it has a lot to do with how your brain functions as well. So that's that is just that's some of the things that we do in the initial stages from the chiropractic standpoint of trying to get you as well as possible. So we are going to evaluate your nervous system and see what's going on with your nervous system and how it's functioning. And then we'll come back after the break and we'll talk about the nutrition side of it and how we get into the nutrition side and what are some of the things that are important when you want to start a nutrition program. Because I know you're going to be looking for it here in another 10 days or so. You're going to want to think to yourself, man, how do I start a nutrition program? So we'll come back after the break and we'll talk about some of those things, see if we can give you some ideas of how to start that. Well, this is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, and we'll be right back. Not real sure what happened with the first part of the show. I apologize for any disruption that we had. Just kind of got it. Just kind of I'm hearing it in my ear. I had some sort of delay right there between what I was speaking and then what all of a sudden what was coming back. So um, I apologize for that. Um, yeah, I do think it's a big deal. Um, seeing how your nervous system is functioning. I don't think that that's very common in a fitness program, but I think it's a big deal for us. It's a big deal because it there's just so much that you have to overcome right there, and then you're going to just try to decide for yourself what what are the important factors in health and wellness. What do I need to do? We got into it today. Um, um, my wife in our staff meeting this morning was asking a question about popcorn. About someone had asked the question, "Is popcorn healthy or not healthy?" And they had gone and researched it, and it said that it actually has an anti-inflammatory effect. Well, omega sixes do have an anti-inflammatory effect at a very small amount. There's just if you have just a little bit of an omega six fatty acid, then it does have an anti-inflammatory effect. But the problem that we have is that, and I don't know, Dr. Lustig mentioned it on the show. I think it was 93% or something that he said on his Huberman podcast this week was that of of Americans are inflamed. And so if you're already inflamed and you're adding omega sixes to the process, they're not going to be anti-inflammatory. They're 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 gonna create even more because your 6:3 ratio is out of balance. So she was asked this patient was asking about popcorn. Well, if you're not inflamed and you just have a little bit of omega six and you don't have any insulin, then it will push that over to a prostaglandin that's anti-inflammatory. It's 100% true. No argument about that at all. But if you are inflamed, or if you bring insulin into the picture, what you'll end up with is you'll end up with inflammation. And I'll show you that here in a second if we can get to it. Okay, everybody, we're back. This is Jason Clemmons, and you are listening to Life with Jason Clemmons, DC, right here on 98.7 Walk by Faith Radio and 1420 AM, Lubbock Christian Nation. We are going through our nutrition or our evaluation for you, and I want to continue with that, and I want to get into um, finish up some of the thoughts, and then I want to show you some of the things that we do from the nutrition standpoint. So when you get ready to make that choice when it come around to the new year and you're looking for an option and you want somebody to help you be well and be fit, that's what we do here. And if you want to, we can help you with that. So let's finish up some thoughts. We evaluate this cervical curve in every single nutritional program that we do. Like how can you be well and fit and have a reverse cervical curve? You can't. In my opinion, you can't. That's my opinion, and I can make an argument about it too. That cervical curve is important, so you got to work on that deal. You got to work on fixing. There's different ways. There's different thoughts. There's different. We can use AMIT here in the office. We can use CBP here in the office. We've got different things, cervical tractioning, different ideas on how we want to do that. Functional neurology, all those things are super important in getting that curve corrected. And it has a lot to do with fitness. So that's a big part of what we're going to do as well. And then this is the picture I wanted to show you. It's a picture of an x-ray for you guys listening on the radio. It's a picture of an x-ray that the patient is bent over. In this particular case, they're bent to the left. So if you don't know this is happening to you, and then you're going to load that spine with some sort of squats, you're going to start doing some squats, or you're going to do some Zumba type stuff where you're going to do a lot of jumping, or you're going to do a lot of weightlifting, and you don't really understand exactly that structure is happening. You have an increased chance of getting injured. That can if you're that can create injury in several different places. It can create injury in your spine. It can create injury in the disc that's in your spine. It can create injury to the muscles that are around the spine and the ligaments that are around the spine. You can also start getting into hips. Your hips can start getting involved. Your ribs can start getting involved. And then that cascades down into your knees and to your feet. So it's not trivial when you've got some sort of biomechanical faults going on in your spine and how they relate to what's going on downstream. And so we try to address all those areas when we're going through it. So now let's look at what we do from the nutrition standpoint. And you're going to want to, when you get ready to start your program, you want to answer some questions for yourself, and you want to ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish? Am I trying to be healthy? Am I trying to lose weight? Am I trying to gain muscle mass? One of the things that was mentioned on that podcast, decreased muscle mass, is increased mortality. As you lose your muscle mass, you increase the chances of dying. So you want to make sure that you answer the question properly. The way that I trained when I was 16, 17, 18, 22, 23 years old was way different than the way that I train in the last 4 years. From 49 to 53, that training has been way different, because what I was asking my body to do when I was 16, 17, 18, those years till I was 22, 23 years old, I was a gladiator in the arena, and I was playing in football, and I was battling in sports. So I had to be prepared to go into the arena. Well, I haven't been tackled since 1993. So whatever that is, 30 years ago, right? Isn't that right? Yeah, 30 years ago. It's been 30 years since I got tackled. So I do not train today with the idea of being tackled. I mean, hey, if I get tackled, then I'll get tackled, but I'm probably not going to run off from you either. But it's going to be a bad situation if I get tackled, because it hadn't happened in 30 years. So you just want to make sure that you're clear about what you're trying to accomplish when you're working on your nutrition. And the two things that we try to accomplish in the offices is we try to control insulin and we try to balance the omega-6-3 ratio. After 23 years of study, if I had to pick two things that I think are the most important things for your health, I want to do those two things. I want to balance your insulin, and I want to control your insulin, and I want to balance your omega-6-3 ratio. And the reason that I want to balance your the reason that I want to balance your omega-6-3 ratio is because I want to protect your mitochondria. I don't primarily want to do it for the benefits of the brain that the DHA provides in the omega-3, or I don't primarily want to do it for the decreased inflammation. Those are just extras. That's like icing on the cake. Those are benefits that you get when you control your omega-6-3 ratio. But the main thing right there is I want to control it because I'm super interested. It's a big deal to protect your mitochondria. And we've been saying this since 2009. It's a big deal to protect your mitochondria. And that's what your 6-3 ratio does. So when we get into the nutrition part of it, what should we do? How do we measure what's going on in your body to determine what it is that you might be deficient in? So we have two questionnaires. We use Standard Process, which is a company that in Wisconsin, that they're a fabulous supplement company. They've been around for a very long time. They have a lot of history. They do a great job. And so we use two different, we use a symptom survey from Standard Process, and then we use a toxicity questionnaire from Standard Process. And we ask you to fill out that information and get that back to us so that we can score that information and see which body systems, from a subjective standpoint, from you asking us, from you telling us answers. We're going to ask you questions, you're going to tell us answers, and then that's going to give us some information about which systems in your body might need some support. And it might come back that you need general foundational support. It might come back that you need liver gallbladder support, or maybe your immune system is not functioning properly. Maybe you need adrenal support. Those type of things will give us some information to start off with. And then we're going to run you through some tests. We've already done some of the analysis from the nerve side, from the nervous system side, and now we're gonna come in and we're gonna look at it from a little bit different perspective. So, and you've heard me talk about this on the show, but here's the things that we're gonna do. Number one, we're gonna do a body composition. So we've got an in-body scanner, and we're gonna do body composition for you. It's gonna give us a bunch of data. It's gonna give us the information. So we're gonna get intracellular water and extracellular water, which is basically your muscle. And we're going to get dry lean mass and body fat mass. That's going to give us bone and fat. We're going to get your weight, your skeletal muscle mass, your body fat mass, and that gives us some information on, do you need to increase muscle mass? Do you need to decrease body fat mass? Most people do. And then we've got some, the body mass index, and then the percent body fat. It gives us that too. And then at the bottom, it'll break down your right arm, your left arm, your trunk, your right leg, and your left leg. So it gives us a breakdown of your body to see exactly how your body is composed, basically. And then gives us a little bit of inflammation. And then one of the things that I really like about this is it gives us a visceral fat level. And the visceral fat level is super important for your overall health. You don't want that centripetal obesity. You don't want that fat that gathers up around your waist and around your belly, because there's a lot of science that talks about how that right there is detrimental for you in fatty liver disease, and it creates all kinds of disruption in your around your organs and puts stress on your heart. There's a lot of problems that go along with that. So we want to know how's your body. How it's not just about your weight. Because one of the things that people do, they'll get super frustrated. They'll come in and we'll do the in-body scan, and then we'll go through a program with them, and then we'll bring them back in 6 or 8 weeks, and we'll do the in-body scan again. And they haven't lost any weight, and they're like, oh man, I feel so much better. I'm functioning so much better. My body's functioning so much better, but the scale is not moving. And when that happens, I'll show them, hey, look, your weight didn't change, but your body fat percent went down because your skeletal muscle went up. So even though you didn't change your body weight, your body composition changed. And one of the things that people get caught up in is their weight. Being skinny does not make you healthy. Taking Ozempic does not make you healthy. Taking Wegovy does not make you healthy. All it does is it just creates more trauma for you down the road that you're going to have to deal with. So being skinny is, I'm going to present for your consideration, is not your goal. That's not what you're trying to accomplish. You don't want to be skinny. You want to be healthy. And we can measure that in body composition and give us a little bit of information that there to know what to do with it. The next thing we're going to do is the heart sound recorder. And the heart sound recorder is actually it tells us it's a sound recorder. You know, when you go to the doctor and he puts the stethoscope on your heart and he listens to it. Well, when he listens to it, what he's doing is what the heart sound recorder is a little device that actually goes around your chest on the different valves of your heart, and it listens to make sure that those valves are closing properly. It gives us a graph of how your body, your heart is actually pumping. It gives us a rate, rhythm, and tone. And it'll tell us exactly, not from an electrical standpoint, but from a sound standpoint. So this is a picture of kind of how that looks. So you just come into the office and Kim will be in there and she'll do your heart sound recorder. And then she'll be able to get some information. We'll get some information about that might lead us into some nutritional deficiencies that you might be dealing with. So that's one of the things that we do with the heart sound recorder. It'll tell us, hey, are you low on your B vitamins? Is there something going on that we need to protect your heart? Or is there something else somewhere that you don't have enough nerve conductivity? Or there's several factors that we can find out about doing the heart sound recorder. And then we'll get into the heart rate variability. And the heart rate variability, there's multiple tests to do the heart rate variability. You actually will be laying down. So we start off the heart rate variability test, and so you're just laying there, and we've got a little monitor that we'll put right up against the skin, and it'll give us some data. Now that we're actually measuring some electrical activity of the heart, and we're measuring that heart rate variability. So the test will take you through some different components. The first one, you'll lay on your back, and then it'll move you all the way up to where you're standing up, and then you still got it, and it's going to measure the difference. Remember a while ago when I said when you're seated, when you stand up, your heart rate should go up. It's different because there's a sympathetic response that goes up that goes along with that. The fight or flight response goes along with standing up. And so you're actually being measured while you're standing to see how your heart responds. And then you will sit down and you'll do what's called a Valsalva move, where you blow on your thumb. And so now we're really testing your entire nervous system of how it's functioning. So you'll blow, you bear down on your thumb while you're being tested, and that'll give us some more information about that. Then we'll get a whole report. We'll get a multiple page report that gives us some graphs of all the findings that we had right there. It kind of looks like this. We've got a graph. It'll give us some different information right there. So we can take that heart rate variability and we can get a picture of how your autonomic nervous system is functioning. And that will tell us, are you stressed out? Are you not stressed out? Is there something we need to address from a nutrition standpoint as far as your rest and recover system, your parasympathetic, or are your adrenals firing properly? Are we getting any sort of um, your sympathetic response? Is it responding the way it's supposed to respond? And are there some nutritional components to that we might could add in right there? You see what I'm saying? It's like what are we trying to do, and how are we're trying to get your nervous system to function the way it's supposed to. Then then we're going to talk about um, your omega-6-3 ratio. Then we're going to see how your insulin is firing. Now we're going to talk about your exercise program. Now you got a chance. Now you got a chance to really make a difference in 2024 and increase your fitness and your health. It's a great program. People that do it are just they're just fantastic results from it. This other part of it is the omega-6-3 index, and that's where we just take a little drop of blood from your finger and put it on a little card, and then they'll send it off, and we'll get it analyzed, and it will give us back information about what is going on with your omega-6-3 ratio. And we've talked about that lots of times, but you get an omega-3 index. That's one of the things that you get. And so it's you'll get an omega-3 index. That wasn't very cool. Then you get an omega-6-3 ratio that it'll measure for us, and then it'll measure your arachidonic to EPA ratio. And arachidonic acid is that inflammatory part that we don't want. We really want to try to control the arachidonic acid in our body. That was what the question was this morning during the staff meeting. Is exactly what? Why is that happening? Is popcorn going to cause any sort of inflammation, or is it anti-inflammatory? Well, the answer to the question is right here. When you have an omega-6 like corn, it's an omega-6. Corn oil is an omega-6, high fructose corn syrup. There's omega-6s with fructose. That's not great. So you're going to take omega-6s, and your body is going to turn it into this DHGLA, this big long acid right there. And then if you just have a little bit of six, S-I-X, if you have a little bit of sixes, omega-6s, then, and you don't have any insulin at all, then it'll kick this over here to what's called a PGE1, and that's anti-inflammatory. So there's no argument right there for all those people that say omega-6s are anti-inflammatory. It's 100% true in small doses with no insulin, because there's a couple of different enzymes, a delta-5 desaturase and a delta-6 desaturase, that will carry this on through in the presence of insulin to arachidonic acid. And then your COX enzymes carries that down to this prostaglandin, and there's your inflammation that goes right there. So it's super important, this process. So what do we get? We get on the test when we check your omega-6-3 ratio, we get arachidonic acid to EPA. And EPA is what you get from fish oil, marine life. That's your EPA. And that ratio right there gives us a lot of information about how your body is doing as far as how it's functioning from an inflammatory standpoint. And it gives us information on how well you're protecting your mitochondria. And the mitochondria is the power plant to the cell. So you want to protect those mitochondria at all costs. It's super vital, important to that. And then what we'll do next is we'll take you through, and we'll create a treatment plan for you. Now, if you want chiropractic care, then we'll add chiropractic care to your treatment plan. If you just want nutrition, then we can do just nutrition for you here in the office. If you want fitness, we can add fitness to it. So we've got the component where we do all of them. We've got the chiropractic care, the nutrition, and the fitness. And some of our patients do all three of those. Or we've got each individual part if you just want to do each individual part. So there's multiple components to it. And you'll get a report. You'll get a notebook And inside the notebook, we'll have all of the data that we just collected for you. And we'll have a special one-on-one session where we actually go over that with you. So there's an assessment day, and then there's a report day, and that gives us the information that we need to make a recommendation. And then we'll give you diet and treatment plans, like diet plans, some ideas that you want to do for nutrition. What is it that you want to eat? What are the things that work well to control insulin? What are the things that work well um, to control your 6:3 ratio? Those are the things that we really want to make sure that you're doing properly, so that you can have the most success, the most optimal chance for success. So those are the components right there that are important in there. And then in the treatments, if you want the full meal deal, now we get the brain working, and we'll use vibe plates. We've got laser glasses. We've got fit lights. We've got an iron neck here in the office. We've got motion guidance. All those things we do to help fire your brain. We want your brain to work properly, so that your body will work properly. Then we want to fuel your body properly, and we want to make sure that your body is accepting that fuel. And then, you keep your spiritual life right. You stay social. You go walk. Man, you be rocking 2024. And it doesn't matter how old you are. I've got an 80-year-old guy works out with me. I've got multiple 70-year-old people that work out with us. We've got 50-year-old people that work out, 30-year-old people that work out with us. Like we've got some space. If you're interested in that, we could do all those things. And then it doesn't matter how old you are, we'll be able to help you. And then one of the other things that we have in the office that it is a game changer for some people. It really is, and it's called the Ultra G, the anti-gravity treadmill. And we can, after we do this process, you say, well, I'm just too old for fitness. I can't do it. Or I can't move. I can't move properly with fitness. No, that's not true. We've got something there that might be able to help you. Let me say, I said that's not true. It might not be true. We might have something that can actually help you, and that's this Ultra G. So once we go through the nutritional part with you, now we can do your exercise program, your fitness program might be coming in and doing the Ultra G, which it's all this. It takes about up to 80% of your body weight off of you, and then there's a metal frame that is going to be around your waist area that you're not going to fall. It's going to protect you from losing your balance, and you're not going to fall. So then we can turn on the treadmill, and then you just walk like normal. You can run if you want to. If you're athletic and you want to come in and take some of the weight off of your feet and your knees, and you're training for a marathon or something like that, you can come in here and run on the Ultra G. It'll take some of your weight off of you. But it's a super great tool to be able to help people move. You should see the kids in the wheelchairs that get out of the wheelchairs and get on the Ultra G. I mean, it's so inspiring to watch them and how much improvement they've had from getting on that. And we do it from wellness. I don't do it for rehab like physical therapy places do. I do it for brain wellness first. But we can do brain wellness and fitness all at the same time with the Ultra G. And then we can take you from the Ultra G into the gym, and now we can create a fitness program for you, a weightlifting program that actually increases muscle mass. And how do I know that? Because we can take you back to the in-body scanner and test it and see if you've increased your muscle mass. And so we have the ability to check your nutrition, see what you're deficient in, make some recommendations for you, and then put you through the fitness program that goes along with it at the same time. You can go in there and work out inside the gym. And if then, from a treatment standpoint, if you've got some muscles that aren't functioning properly, then we can use the AMIT technique that we know, and now we can turn some muscles on that have been turned off. And so those muscles, it's super important for them to be working properly. So we've got that component. as well when those muscles aren't functioning properly. And we look at all the joints. We look at the ankles and feet. We look at the knees. We look at the hips. We look at the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders. We try to evaluate all the joints to see what's going on, how they're functioning, if they're functioning properly. And that's our program. That's what we have. That's what we have to offer you. If you're interested in wellness and you want some help and you're ready to start a program and you're looking for something, then give us a call. We would love to help you live a better life in 2024. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you got a little bit better picture of what we do here at The Rock. And I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. I will be back tomorrow night at 6. So you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you tomorrow.